I've been streaming Super Mecha Champion for 1.5 years now, and I often get this question: what is the best mech, or which mech should I main, or can you make a tier list so that I could, or I got my first 20 go, what mech should I go for? Now, a wise man once said, I fear not the man who has practiced 1000 mecha once, but I fear the man who has practiced 1 mecha 1000 times. Trademark, that's Pandora. With the game release on Steam and a lot of people are coming to the mobile as well, I thought I'd finally make this guide to truly explain on each mech. And sorry to break it to you, there are no tier lists. If I were to make a tier list, I would put my 3 main mech on the S tier, and I will put the others at A tier, and I will put Doomlight at D tier. So the best mech is very subjective, and the key is to actually find the mech that actually suits you. I'm sorry, but there is no best mech, but there is a best mech for you, alright? Best mecha mech, but I'm gonna be calling mecha because that's the anime style. Hi, what's up guys, I'm Zackie-Senpai, Master Pendulum for short, and in these videos I'm gonna be explaining all the 15 mecha as of these videos, on what is their best, why you should get them, or what's their advantages, what's their weaknesses, how to fight them, how are they advantages in the map, and so on, TDM and Battle Royale and stuff. So with that said, roll the intro and let's start off with the freebies. Hey, it's just a gaming channel. So again guys, this is gonna be a tip of an iceberg review. I am not gonna talk about modules choice, I am not gonna talk about tech build. So we're gonna basically talking about the mecha and what they are, right? So let's start off with the freebies first. The freebies are basically Caramel, Arthur, Firefox, Hot Steel, and Skylark. These are the mecha that you get when you just log in for the second day of the game, assuming you decide to keep going, you get Hot Steel on the second day. And then we're gonna talk about the rest of the mecha, alright? So let's go down to the training field and talk about each of the mecha. So let's start off by talking about Firefox. Firefox is a very basic mecha, but a lot of the people tend to underestimate them just because it has only one dash, and all it does is fire and shoot launchers, that's it. So people tend to look down on it, but Firefox is actually a very decent mecha. His secondary attack, the Gemini missiles, actually deals quite a lot of damage. You can see actually half is already dealt, and the primary attacks are very straightforward. Right now on the Steam version there is no headshot, so sadly. So what makes Firefox strong? It depends on the map scenario. Let's say you're at Yayoi Bridge or the Chinatown or even Stadium fighting TDM. Firefox tends to depends a lot on the surroundings. So basically people tend, this is like more to psychology, people tend to underestimate Firefox. So when you expose yourself and run away, people tend to approach you, and that's when you want to fire your Gemini missiles. And his primary attacks deals quite a lot of very good damage. So Fox is very general, is very strong. Do not underestimate him, and I've seen a lot of people underestimate Fox. And one of the strategy in BR is to pretend to be bot, but if you're on tournament, then I don't think that's possible. So his core 1 is actually basically increase his damage for primary weapon, which is his submachine gun, and his secondary attack, which is the Gemini missiles, raging missiles. You lure people, and then people underestimate you, or either you can just dash in front and just blow them all up. So a very good pilot killing, a very good mecha killing, just like a lot of mobility. This is basically about Firefox. I would say he's not weak, just needed to play correctly and needed to see the circle and all that. So let's talk about Skylark next. Skylark, let's talk about the primary weapon first. The primary weapon is basically shooting, and this is the shoot that you need to time very good when you're chasing after pilot when they are destroyed and floating down. You just need to time your attack correctly and you'll be able to hit. Now the secondary attack is Hunts, where it throws and it deals a lot of damage. Depending on what core you choose, if you choose core 1, the secondary weapon Hunt returns horizontal and deals damage when it's returning. So if you choose core 1, the Hunts will be coming back. So let's see. And when it comes back, it does damage as well. If you choose core 2, it is gonna damage for the second weapon Hunt increase according to the distance. So the longer the distance, the more damage it deals. So let's glide away, and there you go. Damn, I didn't hit it. So overall, Skylark is actually much more easier to play on PC because of it's easier to aim while reloading and stuff like that. So you deal a lot more damage if it's from distance. Now, one thing about Skylark is that he has the ability to heal. The recovery from the secondary weapon hunt, if for the defense module you choose below in Crane, you'll be able to transfer the amount of damage you deal. You'll be able to recover you and your allies about 30, 40, and 60% depending on damage. This is one of the best things about Skylark. You'll be able to heal your allies. As of now, there's not a lot of mech that can heal friends, so Skylark is one of the best one you can go for. One thing about Skylark is that he glides, he goes, but his strong point is that people don't know when you are gonna glide or when you are gonna dash. So if you're playing Skylark, right, it's best that you try to not be predictable about your movement. If people see you moving about one way or another, like very predictable, then you're gonna get destroyed very fast. The key about Skylark is to be unpredictable and poking. Your job is to poke, not to tank, and be evasive. So Arthur is my best mech to go. He is my main, so I can tell you more about Arthur than anyone else. So his frantic charge, modules wise, go for frantic charge. We're gonna talk about modules here. So Arthur's primary weapon allows him to stun opponent. If you hit 4 times, then your opponents will be stunned. And his secondary attacks is a whirlwind slash, so basically it's a very melee attack. It deals a lot of damage, more than his EMT, so when you stun people, you go in with a charge. My thing, Arthur only has 3 dash, assuming you pick the core 1. The core 1 allows you to have 3 dash instead of 1. So I tend to do this when I play Arthur, right? So I tend to dash in first, so that I trigger the cooldown. Let's say my opponent is Doom Knight. Then I'll use my dash to get away and try to do a little bit of stun before I approach it. And by the time I stun him, I stun a little bit more, and then the cooldown is already over, I can go in and charge. So this is one way to play about Arthur. And that's basically it. One thing about Arthur is open field. You'll be able to close in your opponents very easily. You'll be able to scout your teammates ahead much more. You'll be able to get away much easier. You'll be able to stun opponents. A very flexible mecha. One thing about people is that they tend to spend the fuel a lot more faster. And I would say that always keep your fuel more than 50 to 60%. Don't spend your fuel just because you have a lot of dash. So that's it about Arthur. Anything I want to talk about him, he doesn't have any weakness. His weakness is based on your fuel consumption. If you spend your fuel correctly, then okay. Arthur has a weakness where he cannot go too high. So if you're playing somewhere around big buildings, you won't be able to go chase certain max. So that's basically it about Arthur. So let's move on to Hostile. So let's talk about Hostile. His primary attack, Tornado Missiles, which is a very slow. Just like Arthur, his primary attack is very slow, very predictable to dodge. But if timed correctly, if like you're really good, but you cannot, even if you're good at timing, people can change their direction anytime, alright? So his secondary attack, I think it used to be called Soft Steel. I don't know what it's called now, but this Kamehameha missiles is very good in AoE. So his primary attack and his secondary attack has a very good AoE in dealing pilots or mecha. So in building wise, it's very easy for him to kill pilots. He also has his combat skill also very cool. You'll be able to go up high and you'll be able to charge in, and when you charge in, double tap it again. Let me show you, so that you'll be able to do another melee attack. So he has 1 melee attack. So you dash and then you knock them. So that's one way to be in contact, but you can also go pilot. So if you go through pilot, you have to press Q another time in order to do that damage. Let me show you right here. So I'm dashing. I press the Q early. I'll be able to do that melee solid damage. Now, Hostile is able to enter into burst mode. So when he enters burst mode, he travels a little bit faster. He shoots a little bit faster, and then he also deals a lot more damage. And one thing about his Soul of Steel is that you'll be able to maintain in air for a sweet amount of time. So, see, but when you run out of fuel, you'll be dropping. So that's one hack about Hostile. The AoE is amazing. So his core 1 recovers durability equal to 10% of damage due to a hit target when rampaging. So if you're playing defensive, you're playing a tanker, then this one's the one to go. If you're playing for damage, then Soul of Steel core 2 is the one to go. Now, one thing about Hostile is that when he transforms to mech, when your pilot transforms into mech, people stun you, Arthur stun you, or any other mech, you tend to still have 50% damage 50% durability still. He has 4000 HP, which is a lot. So if you're 3 person stuck in a building, then the first person to go out and distract the enemy will be a hostile user. Alright, so that's basically about hostile. Let's move on down to the last freebies, which is Kuma. So Kuma, depending, let's talk about primary attack first. Primary attack is more to poke, but the damage is still decent. You just gotta jump around sometimes and all that. And then secondary attack provides knockback. So sometimes you can knock your enemy back out of the blue. They're like, holy crap, what's happening? So that's basically it. Jump wise is decent. So he also has this leap, power leap or whatever. So let's choose a target right here. So when you jump, it actually deals damage. I don't know if it does on the Steam version, but on the global version, it actually does damage. And if you want more jump, so this allows you to go higher places. So you can jump and super jump. We'll call it super jump. So Caramel has a mode change, which is changing into cannon mode. And in cannon mode, he has higher damage and higher AoE. But the downside is he has a very low ammo, reloading time is long, and people will be able to strike you and you have to change back, and it takes a lot of time. So best to use this when you're on the high ground or you're sure that you're at the corner of the circle or no one is around you. So Core 1 allows him to fight stronger in close range battle if you're a close range battle. But if you're a cannon or sniper, then Rapid Volley is the one that you want to go. It increases the AoE and as well as the damage. And it's pretty decent. Kuma is a very nice mech to go. I love using him. I use him from time to time, even though he is not my top 3, but he is viable. And here's one tips about him. So you're in cannon mode, right? You see the ammo right there is 6. So I shoot, I reload, I transform, and then I transform back, my ammo is full. So always do this, alright, when you're playing as Kuma. I'm blocking the ammo, I know, but... So next... Oh wait. So next one, we're talking about Hurricane. Primary attack is very simple. Just like Firefox, he fires ammos. But unlike Firefox, he has more magazine capacity, but Firefox has more shield than him. So Firefox's shield regeneration is actually quite high too. So his primary attack is shooting, and then his secondary attack is basically missile launching, which deals a very decent AoE, and it also has tracking depending on what kind of propulsion mode you choose. So very straightforward. You shoot and you shoot your launchers. That's it. So make sure to always shoot. And then when you're about to use your secondary attack, just like a Caramel, hit that reload button, and then you'll be able to reload while dealing damage. Now he has aircraft mode as well, and I think this is the best way to fly if you want to save fuel. Don't just go ahead and charge, wasting all that fuel. So you just go like this. So big weakness about him, and the same as Andromeda, which we're gonna talk about later, is that once your fuel is over, your mobility sucks. So you'll get hit easily, and try not to be predictable. Just play him like you play Skylark. Go side to side, don't be predictable. Just go side to side, and then while shooting, go side to side. And then when you go down, floating and descending, like floating, like you're playing like this, and then you go like this, and then you go like this. That's the very good way to be evasive as well. So I'm not gonna touch the other modules. I'm gonna touch about Core 1 first. So Core 1, you fire more missiles. That's great. But that if all missiles hit, right, you're actually dealing 1000 damage. But if less missile hit, you're actually dealing less than having 2 missiles. So if you have 2 missiles, Core 2 actually increase your primary attack, but we're gonna talk about if you have 2 missiles, you see the damage actually, you can actually reverse the videos. So with 2 missiles, you actually a lot easier. Depending on you. In PC, in Steam or PC, I technically prefer Core 1 because of the amount of damage hit and stuff like that. But in mobiles, I actually prefer Core 2 because it helped with the Mecha tracking on the secondary attack. So that's it about Hurricane. A very straightforward mech. One thing to talk about him is that he's a flying Firefox with more magazine capacity and less shield and shield regeneration. So next one is the mecha that you top up enough and you'll get. So Venturus, everyone call him the JoJo mecha. And primary attack is basically, yeah, just punching, jab, invisible jab or whatever. And secondary attack is some sort of AoE attack. Really good in killing pilot as well. AoE very decent, and he also has dash similar to Arthur. And when you dash, I don't want to see you doing this. I want you to see you doing this. You see, you get the extra momentum. This is from Utah, by the way. And that's it about him. And he also has a mode change. When he changed mode, he has no ammo limit, so very nice. But his attack seems to scatter, and his secondary attack, no need to charge for full damage. So that's basically it about Ventoros. I'm gonna talk about his mode change again. So I don't recommend him to be played on BR, but I recommend you to try him out on TDM. He is very hard to master, but he is very good. Let's show you one example right here. When I mode changed, right? When I mode change, you see the scatter is not that bad. The scatter is not that bad. I can hide, and while I'm hiding, I can actually do damage. So one way around is to actually just jump around opponent. It's really hard. So I'm gonna choose Core 2. Core 2 actually, if your secondary attack hits, it reduces your Dragon mode's cooldown, the Berserk mode, the mode change. So one way to play around is to actually jump around pilots. And his secondary attack, his dash become omnidirection, which allows him to go higher area. So when he's not mode change, you cannot like go up. So that's one thing about his Berserk mode. You have to time him in his whatever, but don't rely on his melee attack, because his melee attack is not strong. So for his build, right, I'm not gonna touch so much, but I technically tell you to build him in cooldown, his secondary attack cooldown. So that's basically about Ventoros. Moving on to the next mecha. Now, I'm a very terrible sniper on mobiles, but I think I can fairly do well. And about Gap, there's really nothing much to talk about. His Core 2 increased his primary attack. His Core 1 increased his his secondary attack when charged at full. Deal 12% damage bonus to target when sniping fully recharged. And depend on what you want to use, alright? So I usually go with spiral missiles because I'm more of a close range person. So one tip about Gabriel, when you scope, one of his weaknesses is that you cannot see what's around you. So make sure you're safe, make sure no one is around you, make sure you're at the corner, or make sure you're at a very high building. But you can still sustain damage, you can actually still see your health, so pay attention to that. So one thing people like to do is they like to do this. So they like to do this. So that's one tip about Gabriel. I am not a good person about him. His dash allows him to go different direction, but until you reach that until you reach that destination, you'll still receive damage from here. All right, so that's it about Gab. I'm not gonna touch so much about him. I'm not a pro at him, but at least you learn something about him, like this technique. I don't know who came up with it, but you can actually jump while be predictable. So that's it about Gabriel. Let's move on to Doomlight. Every team needs a Doomlight, whether you're playing BR or TDM. He's pretty good. His floating wise, it's actually quite fast, but you need a lot of patience to play him. That's why I don't have it. When you're in BR, right, I recommend you always carry as much deform card as possible, because sometimes your teams can get away fast, or your team wants to proceed fast. Then you're gonna need a lot of deform card. So his primary attack is more of a poke one, not a lot of high decent damage. And then his secondary attack is summoning turrets. So a lot of people, when they fight, they see Doom, right, they tend to underestimate him. So let's just recover turrets first. So people tend to underestimate Doom, but I say approach him close when he already summoned his turret. Otherwise, when you get close to him, he's gonna put everything here, and then you're messed up. He's gonna and then he's gonna summon his shield, and then he's gonna walk around and deal more damage to you. So make sure he summons his turret first before approaching you. I'm teaching you how to fight him instead of how to use him. And one thing about his shield is that your attack is able to pass through, your ally attack is able to pass through, but enemy attack will not be able to pass through. But Arthur, when Taurus or Neutron Star's melee attacks will still able to pass through his shield. That's make his biggest downfall. And one way to play him is to go high ground, because I can't reach it, but because your shield doesn't cover everything. People can still shoot you. Andromeda, Hurricane can still fire through you from on top. So go high ground when you're using the shield, right? And be very patient when you're using him, and that's basically it about him. I never use him in a battle, but I know a lot of people out there that's really good with Doomlight that even took out my Arthur, my Raven, my Hurricane. Do not underestimate this mech just because it's slow. The patience to success, The key to success is patience, alright? Now people always say that I have good aim, but no, I don't have a good aim. I just good at predicting, okay? So Raven, in order to pull out Raven's potential, you need to meet 3 conditions. First, you need to be very good at aiming. Either your God-gifted talent, or you practice very hard, or you'll be very predictable. Second, you need to have Core 1 auto charge. Right, this right here, always go for Core 1. I don't care what Core 2 does, just don't pick that one. And number 3, you always need attack module at level 3 to pull out Raven's full potential. Raven has lifesteal as well, but I don't know which one, so maybe you can build him lifesteal. But what I want to talk about is Core 1 allows you to charge faster. You see, it allows you to charge more faster. So I won't use Raven unless I have Core 1. And a lot of people like to argue with me, why go explosive arrow instead of sweet shot? I'll tell you why. Let's say there's a boss here blocking hostile, and I can only shoot here. I can still do damage to him. Oh my god. Can I do damage here? See, I can still do damage. And it also helps in killing pilots in buildings. And his secondary attack allows him to always do this, so that you can get that momentum. And his secondary attack allows him to even hook on to Mecha. Let me find one Mecha right here. Can you fly, Hurricane? Can you fly? Okay, Hurricane can fly, and you can actually hook onto him. And he actually has secondary attack, which is spread shot. So I want you to try mastering this. Oh my god, I failed. One more time. I can multitask. You guys know I can multitask. I want you to always do this, because spread shot, when used near or people approach you or you want to go after people, if used near, it deals more damage because it's spread, alright? And then to just finish people off. Raven is very specific, unlike Gap, which is only aim or whatever, but Raven, you need to like have pretty good aim because you cannot scope. But he is a very strong mech if you meet all these conditions, but try not to solo as well because he's very soft. 2600 durability, so I don't recommend, but he is my third mech to go, and I understand him very well. And if you don't disagree with me with explosive arrow, you want swift shot, go ahead, but you're gonna have a very hard time killing pilots. So moving on to to the next mech. So let's talk about Andromeda. Primary attack is very slow. It's more of a poking, just like Skylark, and secondary attack is javelin throwing. So depending on what core you choose, if you choose Core 1, secondary weapon gains heat seeking to track opposing mecha, so you'll be able to track opponent. That's not really special, don't pick that. You want to pick Core 2. Secondary weapon gains EMP for more damage and inflict paralysis to enemy's mecha. So what you do is you just throw your javelin. You need to be predictable as well, and you stun your opponent just exactly like Arthur. And then you fly around, oh, poke them. Now, yes, there's 2 mech that's allowed to fly, Hurricane and Andromeda. Now you fly around, and then this is what Blink does. He always does this to conserve and to fly longer. Mobile user, you can actually do this if you're a gyroscope user, but to do this while fighting your opponent is actually very hard. So it takes a lot of time. I've seen Blinks do it, and he's really good at it. So Andromeda is poke mecha, it's a stun mecha, it's a support mecha, and if you're playing in a team play, I have Arthur right here, I have Gabriel right here. Always maintain in the middle because you want to be taking care of your teammates. So that's basically about Andromeda. Moving on to the next mech. Alright, last 2 mech to go, which is Firestar. Firestar is a very straightforward. Again, he's a poke, but he does burn damage. Just like Flamethrower, it leaves mecha or pilot with burn damage, inflicting over time, but it's not really that long. But if you have Red's buff, maybe the debuff is gonna last longer. And his secondary attack is a very good pilot killing as well as a very good close range. You tend to not miss, but it deals a lot of damage. I can say, you see, and you finish off. It has, if it's overheat, then it's gonna have a cooldown unless before you can use it again. Now, just like many mech, just like Hurricane, Firestar will be able to transform into sphere form. And when he transforms into sphere form, there are many buildings he can enter like other mecha couldn't. So he actually, when you transform into ball form, you're actually a lot more smaller, and you'll be surprised. You can actually try some buildings in the game, especially the buildings at Ayumi, the four buildings at the corner. You'll be able to enter those buildings and just flame those pilots inside, and that's really satisfying to do. Now his sphere form also has a charge form, and people tend to do this. when someone exploded, they tend to go after the mecha, or this is act as a very good finisher, or to close in the distance. And then once you hit people, let's say once you hit people, oh my god, it's still on cooldown. So once you hit people, you go back and then you just burn them. I'm a little bit slow there, but overall, Firestar is a very good pilot killing. It's a very good AOE. You need to see the situation. If there's a lot of people, then don't close in. If you have support, then maybe close in. So that's basically about Firestar. Let's talk about the last mech that I want to cover in this video, which is Trio. Alright, Trio of the Ender has a lot of things to be talking about. Just like Hostile, he has a very high durability, but less than Hostile. His primary attacks are very subjective. He has mode change, where you tap right click, or on mobile is different. So he has rocket launchers, which works at very long range. He has machine gun, which works in mid and long range. And then he also has shotgun, which works when in close range. So he has all those three things except a sniper. So very straightforward. All you do is shoot. Shoot. So his mode change, not basically mode change, just like Hostile, he has berserk mode, and when it's berserk mode, it's just going killing spree. So you can see his logo behind it changed to O, which is Omega, and that's basically it. He is a powerhouse and he packs a lot. And even if, let's say, Hostile and Trio maxed up and fight head on, if Hostile doesn't go on top, right, Trio would win because he's a freaking powerhouse. And I recommend this mech launch a cluster. So I recommend core 2 with him. You can actually go core 1 if you want, which is whatever it is. Get a buff of 5 seconds when switching weapon, which is defense. It differs for some weapon, whether it's heavy gun, shotgun, rocket launchers. They give you different attributes, but I prefer core 2. You'll understand why. So when you mode change, wait, I thought I choose core 2. Haven't? Oh yeah. So when you're reloading, you actually fire a cluster of missiles, and I tend to do this. So when you're reloading, you actually fire a cluster of missiles, and you can actually mode change in between, which is pretty awesome. Act has a very good finisher. So that's basically about Trios of Enders. So I've covered all mecha. Okay, let's be honest. Maybe I'm not the best mech, but I want to give you a certain pictures of what those mech does in general. By the way, Trio is very weak when you stun him. So anyways, the key is to not only master one mecha, but try to choose 3 mecha to main, so that you can actually work in different kind of situation. So I hope this guide is able to help you guys. So if it does, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I'm Master Pentagon, and someone requested me to make a Raven guide. So I'll be making that videos after I'm done with this. Maybe it's gonna come in 1 or 2 days, I don't know. But thank you all so much for watching. I'm Master Pendragon, and A is just a gaming channel.